Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA. Let's talk about what is happening to NVIDIA, what we can expect moving forward, and all that good stuff. If you enjoy, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., well, again, I do share my thoughts with my members every single day as the market is open, as the market is trading. So definitely check that out. That link is down below in the description of every single YouTube video. It's a YouTube membership, of course, which again, for just $3 a month, that's all it is for the first tier. Includes all my Tesla updates. $5 a month adds NVIDIA to that. $7 adds non-Tesla, non-NVIDIA stocks to that as well. Plus, of course, it also adds the Discord membership section where I constantly, where every Sunday I'm losing my train of thought. Where every Sunday I go over charts that members request. There we go. Anyways, jumping into it, NVIDIA closing the day up with a pretty respectable 1% on the day. Could have been better with the market up 0.9% on Qs at least, but hey, it's not too bad. So what is NVIDIA doing? What can we expect moving into next week and even into earnings, right? That's the main question I'm sure people have. Well, the question is, not the question, I guess. The momentum is bullish. It's plain and simple. It's still bullish. I mean, just the stock feels like, you know that meme of that guy where he's like running in the middle of the desert and it's like, whatever, you know the meme I'm talking about. It's bullish. Just when you think surely it can't get any more bullish or it surely has to stop at some points, it doesn't. It keeps going. So number one on the daily, what's important? Well, 9 EMA, green line. Is it holding? It's holding. Have we really closed consecutive candles below it? Nope. We had some false flags here. But again, we need more than one candle. One candle doesn't make a trend. If we start getting multiple candles closing below, like 2, maybe 3, okay, that's a little bit more concerning potentially. But, just one candle, hard to make full conclusions off of just that. Evidently so. So the 9 EMA keeps holding. The 9 EMA is holding. It's looking pretty damn good. And, overall, my target to the upside, which I'll go over a little bit more on the 1 hour time frame as to, what to look for, the levels, etc. Right after this, is going to be another touch sometime, closer to earnings, to the top of the trend line, the top of the rising trend line on the daily, which will bring it in the very low 190s, 192, 193, something like that, right? Kind of like what it did here, right? Nice little touch, retrace, boom. Nice touch again, retrace, boom. Pretty much we're continuing to do this over and over and over and over and over and over again. And until proven otherwise, I assume the bulls will continue doing it. Pretty simple stuff. Now let's jump to the 1 hour time frame, right? What do we have to look for in the 1 hour time frame? Well, I mentioned how the stock is in a rising triangle pattern, which is actually a bullish continuation pattern where you can see we're essentially starting to make these equal highs, but we're consistently making higher lows. One of my favorite personal patterns. And it's looking pretty good, and we're getting very close to the apex. So in other words, there's a damn good chance Monday, latest Tuesday, we should get a resolution of this pattern where essentially as long as ideally this trend line holds and we don't lose this trend line, which, sometime Monday, let's say, is about 181 and change. The bulls are complete control. If we lose this trend line, it's looking a little bit more sloppy, but as long as this low back here doesn't get lost, which is the most recent higher low that we set, arguably, about 170, like high 178, so 178.7 or 0.8 or something like that. As long as that doesn't get lost, still in control, right? So again, bulls in control on the daily, seemingly in control on the 1 hour time frame. And what do they need to do to really blast this stock off? Well, you can see, where do we end up stopping today? We had that nice retracement, came right back up. And then where do we stop again? That 183 and change level, right? Stopped here, stopped here, and now we're stopping here, well, once again. So the bulls need to essentially break up above 183 and change, 184 if you want to give it a bit more wiggle room, and then turn it back into support and, well, simply put, head higher. And that to me will give me a better idea of the fact that the bulls definitely want to take full control here and will make their way higher to that low 190s, retest of that upper trend line on the rising channel on the daily. And simply put, that's kind of what I'm expecting right now. If we get any retracement back down to about 181s, that could be just yet another opportunity for the bulls, which isn't that much lower from here, but nonetheless, it's still lower. So that's kind of what I'll be looking for. And even on the 1 hour, you can even make an argument the fact that this little move up right here that we're seeing is kind of like a little bull flag setting up, which we can get a pretty early breakout, maybe even Monday, maybe one small retrace first and then a breakout. And then again, essentially getting back above 183 to 184 should be bullish for NVIDIA to, well, continue higher. I mean, it just feels like the stock doesn't know how to do anything but go up, right? So, hey, it is what it is. So let's continue riding it while we can, right? So that's kind of what I'll be looking for right now for NVIDIA. I mean, yeah, the setup is bullish, the daily is bullish, 1 hour is bullish, everything's bullish. Going to the weekly time frame, still bullish. We did have a very ugly weekly candle last week, but again, potential top candles or top signal sort of candles like the one we had last week they don't mean anything until triggered. What usually triggers these top signal type candle patterns, like, you know, a hammer or inverted hammer candle, hanging man candle, whatever, right? Any of these, like shooting star candle, evening star candles, whatever, name any one that you want. What do you actually need to confirm them, right? So essentially for this one, what did we need to confirm it? We needed to close lower than last week's close, which in this case would have been pretty much below 171. We obviously didn't get that. We're well above that. We're pretty much $10 above that. So not only did we not trigger that potentially, which could have been a pretty strong reversal candle, but we also ended up printing another higher high on the MACD. Like I said, the other thing I'm looking out for on the weekly for, you know, to give me warning signs, because at some point this rally will end. Like I said, the music is still playing. So while the music is still playing, we continue dancing. But at some point the music will stop. And well, you know, musical chairs, you better have a chair or else you're going to be the one left holding the bag. At some point it will stop, of course. That's just how it works. We're not going to continue going up like this parabolically for the rest of time, right? For the next 10 years or something, right? It's going to stop at some point, and it's going to most likely come back and retrace back to the EMAs, back to retesting all-time highs. And I'm pretty confident about that. I do think that's going to happen, but not yet, obviously, right? Because like I said, the other thing I'm looking for is a higher or a lower high on the MACD histogram. We have yet to see that. We have yet to see that on my MACD settings. Again, don't forget, I do have specific settings in the MACD. It's not the default settings, but we have yet to see that. So again, SMI has been flagging caution for a while now, but usually in the past, you would need to see a lower high on the MACD. And then that usually is going to be enough to start giving me some major warning signs that we most likely have begun our correction. We're not there yet. Not only are we not there yet, but the daily and the 1 hour are still both looking bullish, like the stock wants to continue higher. So, hey, if the charts tell me it wants to go higher, despite me thinking this stock has had probably one of the most unbelievable runs I've seen in quite some time and surely can't go any higher, well, it doesn't matter what I think, all right? It doesn't matter what I personally think. It doesn't matter what emotions I have or don't have for the stock. All that matters is what are the candles telling me? Candles as of right now, as long as those levels hold, like I said, especially on the 1 hour time frame, they're still saying the bulls are full in control, and we could still see probably another 10-point move higher from here, to be completely honest with you. So let's continue monitoring that. If we see red flags, obviously I'll let you know if I see anything worth mentioning, but yeah, other than that, still looking pretty damn solid. So with that being said, the bulls are in control. Let's continue monitoring. Options flow. Let's take a look at options flow. What can we see here? You know, very bullish flow. Obviously, the overall flow more bullish than bearish. No questions about that, especially in the morning to like kind of early afternoon, right? One little put over here came in, pretty interesting actually. 2.2 million put came in, 180 strike for September 5th. I actually missed that one. One random massive bear in a sea of bulls. So let's see, let's see what happens with that. A little premature. Like if I was someone entering this, I wouldn't be entering up here, not yet at least. But yeah, maybe they know something I don't. Maybe they know some kind of news coming out. Who knows? But with that being said, towards the end of the day, a little bit more bearish. I won't lie. Definitely a little bit more bearish towards the end of the day here. Not overwhelmingly bearish, but a little bit more bearish for sure, right? Towards the end of the day, including this 370K put that came in 177.5 strike for August 22. Okay, a little concerning there. Nothing crazy, nothing overwhelmingly bearish, but okay, a little bit eyebrow raising, I guess. But again, to me, options flow, I always put usually a lot more emphasis, like substantially more emphasis on the actual chart itself than I do on options flow. To me, options flow is just an add-on. The chart itself and what the candles are saying, the patterns, etc., that's what really matters. And as of right now, like I said, just based on this overall setup, like I mentioned back here as well, it's still looking pretty bullish. I see no major reason to be concerned yet. At least eventually we will, but yet, no, nothing really. So still looking pretty solid. And let's continue, I guess, riding this thing up until it decides it finally wants to stop going up. Because so far it hasn't. But anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. See you on Monday. Peace.